Around the world, there are said to be about 74,000 companies that have been in business for over 100 years.
Wow.
And more than half of them, about 37,000, are actually in Japan. Isn't that quite surprising?
That really is an incredible number. Why is it that Japan has so many long-lived companies? Today, I'd like to explore that secret based on Daisuke Hibino's book, What Companies That Survive 100 Years Value Most. This is not just about survival strategies, but about something deeper, the way of thinking behind management, its philosophy.
I see. That's a different perspective from the Western approach.
Exactly. And by learning this, I think you might also find some hints for how companies and working styles should look in the future.
One interesting point is that many of Japan's century-old companies trace their roots back to the Edo period.
Yes, and some argue that the practical philosophy of Yang Mei Yang, which is Neo-Confucianism of Wang Yangming, has formed the basis of their management style.
Right, and that's a fascinating insight. When you look at how that philosophy appears in practice, certain common patterns become clear.
Patterns?
For example, a company doesn't collapse even without profits.
Wait, without profits?
Yes, of course, financial strength matters, but it's not just that. Strong trust with employees and business partners becomes a kind of capital of trust that supports the company.
I see. Capital of trust. That's interesting.
Another point is that business can be sustained by what seems like idealism. From today's perspective, that might sound naive, but it's not. In fact, it's highly strategic.
Strategic? Really?
Yes, they value not only customers, but also employees and partners to the fullest extent. For example, even if an employee isn't producing results, they don't fire them right away, but continue to support them.
In the short term, that sounds inefficient.
It does at first glance, but in the long run, valuing people increases employee engagement, their attachment to and motivation for the company, and that eventually creates profits.
I see. So the opposite of short-term profit thinking becomes the secret to lasting 100 years.
Another fascinating feature is that many don't rely on manuals.
No manuals? How does that even work?
This goes back to Yang Mi Young's idea of ryoshi, the belief that everyone has the innate ability to make the right judgment. Instead of binding people with rules, they're told to act based on their conscience and do what they think is best at the moment.
So the company places deep trust in its employees?
Exactly, but at the same time, people aren't strong enough to always live up to their conscience. That's why management plays such a crucial role.
What kind of role specifically?
It relates to how you see an organization. One model is a functional system designed to achieve objectives, which is common in American firms. The other is a communal system, where the purpose is simply for the organization to continue existing. Japanese long-lived companies tend to lean towards the latter.
Communal system?
Yes, instead of focusing on maximizing profits, they prioritize ensuring that the people within the company can live stable lives. It's less like a corporation and more like a village or community. That's why their management style avoids strict rules or reward punishment systems. Instead, they create opportunities for interaction, build trust, and encourage people's conscience and compassion to emerge.
So it's about nurturing people through relationships and environment rather than rules.
Exactly. This way of thinking is rooted in Edo period commoner culture. Even though there were class systems, people valued horizontal connections and the spirit of helping one another. That cultural mindset became the foundation of this communal approach to management.
I see now. The strength of Japan's long-lived companies doesn't come from efficiency or rigid rules.
That's right. Paradoxically, what might seem irrational from a modern efficiency-driven perspective, community, trust, and valuing people, are exactly the elements that allow these businesses to endure for centuries.
It's a very different philosophy from maximizing shareholder profits.
Yes, and that difference is what sustains them over the long term.
In fact, in today's world where efficiency and profit often dominate, the way these Japanese companies operate could teach us a lot about our own work styles and organizational models.
I agree. And finally, I'd like to pose a question to you, the listener. How might you bring this idea of valuing community and building on trust into your own workplace or community? I'd be delighted if you gave that some thought.